Hi, this side Afreen. Welcome to our podcast. Today we are having a very special guest. Today's guest is more than just a teacher. He's an inspiration for change. He's a spiritual guide and a friend to thousands of people around the world. A TED speaker and the author of 3 books. For over 15 years, he has shared deep wisdom about psychology, tantra, meditation and human potential. Through his unique program, the Divine Awakening Curriculum, he has already helped more than 100,000 people across 6 continents to overcome suffering, awaken their spiritual side, and discover their true potential. He is also the founder of the Divine Awakening Commune, a movement that brings together East and West, spirit and matter, wealth and wisdom, showing that enlightenment and success can go hand in hand. His work has been honored by His Holiness the Dalai Lama and has been appreciated by the fashion icon Satya Paul and loved by the seekers everywhere. He is an artist, a poet, an author, and all above, he is a spiritual teacher on a mission to spark a global revolution of consciousness, freedom, and abundance. Please welcome Mr. Jay Kabir.
Thank you so much, Afreen, for this warm and wonderful introduction. And it's my honor and my privilege to be here in this podcast.
So Kabir, would you like to tell me your family was spiritual, religious, or not very religious? How did that affect you as a child?
When it comes to my childhood, I was very fortunate that I was not born in a very fanatic or an extremely religious family. Very simple, very humble. Yet there was one thing in my mom, since they used to live in Kolkata. So she used to read a lot about Swami Vivekananda when I was in the womb. So as they say in our ancient culture that you in your womb also what mother reads, what she sees, what are the impressions around her that gets imbibed in her body and that reflects in their offspring. So maybe that had impacted me. I'm not sure. But yeah, Swami Vivekananda has been a great inspiration to humanity. He opened the doors of spirituality for the West. Before him, nobody knew what is meditation, what are higher states of consciousness, what is liberation, not in a religious way, but in a spiritual way, in an inner way. So maybe that impacted, but the real journey of seeking started when I was 23. Till then, nothing in the family. Yes, sometimes your pain or the grief which you are going through can become seed of spiritual revolution within you. So that happened for me, and that's how my journey began.
I would also like to ask you, like, how did being bullied in the school change the way you felt inside?
Childhood which I went through was very, very humiliating, very dark, very rough. Till my 12th standard, I was the shortest kid in my class. And you know, when either you're too short, too thin, too dark, too fair, or too fat, somehow people around you start to pick upon you, they start to bully you, and you start to lose your confidence. You start to lose your self esteem.
Correct.
And that started to me when I was 6.
Oh.
So I was in my first standard and I was playing in the ground. Till that time, I was very good. I was extremely happy kid, extremely joyful, very energetic. I didn't know what pain is, sorrow is because I was a single child. So my dad took great care of me, and so did my mom. But so what happened? I was playing in this big ground in my school. I was in my own world because I was a single child. I was very thoughtful, very imaginative. I didn't talk much to people, but I used to imagine things a lot. Like I used to paint, I used to draw things. Like if I observe a leaf, I used to draw it. If I used to observe a flower, I used to draw it. So that kind of a person in his own world. And here I was running in my own world, and my teacher, my sport teacher, was shouting, and I didn't hear because I was in my own world, which I still am. you know. So a boy came to me, like my classmate, and he was like, "Ma'am is calling you, and she's really angry, and she's shouting at you." So I went to her. She held me by my ears and she slapped me, and she said, "Bone, तुझे समझ में नहीं आ रहा क्या?
Oh my God.
इतनी देर से तुझे बुला रही हूँ," which means Bona means dwarf. So she said that you dwarf, with a lot of anger. I'm calling you since a long time and you're not even listening to me. And then she slapped me again. And then everybody started to laugh. Now, two things happened in my mind. So every human being has an identity making machine in their mind. And psychology say that from the age of 0 to 8, your identity is shaped, which runs your entire life. And this identity is shaped based on your surroundings, your environments, the people, the kind of conversations that are happening, even the kind of emotions they are going through, and the visuals and the outside impressions which you're absorbing from the society. That's how you learn the language also, right?
Right.
So a child born in a Tamilian family, no one teaches him how to speak in Tamil. But he is just 6 months, 7 months, and he starts to speak, right? Or she starts to speak. Just by listening, their mind is absorbing, and suddenly they start to speak the same language. If you are born in a Greek family, you will start to speak Greece or Greek. If you are born in a Indian family, you will start to speak Hindi or Urdu.
Yeah, whatever.
If you are born in a British or American family, you will learn British or American. So that is creating a certain identity of yourself about yourself.
Right.
Now, when these kind of sudden traumatic event happens, when someone is humiliating you, someone is abusing you, you start to see yourself from their perspective. Because till now, your perception about yourself has not been developed. For most of us, our parents are not that aware that they start to create an empowered identity in a very conscious way for you, you know. So when this teacher said that, "Hey, Bonne, idhar aa, Dorf, come here," and then everybody started to laugh and she started to beat me up, I thought, okay, my identity making machine in my brain started to think, okay, I am not like everybody else. There's something wrong in me. I'm not good enough. Maybe I'm so bad that I'm a subject of laughter and humiliation for these people.
Correct.
And that started to settle down in my mind. And now I started to lose my confidence. I started to shrink. Now, have you observed that if you become little vulnerable about something in your life or a certain aspect of your life, you start to get targeted more? Like that's a weak area. Somehow human beings have this tendency to spot that weak point, and without even knowing, they will start to target that point. Like if you are bullied at a place, you meet new people, they also start to bully you. Or not just for children, even if you are an adult, suppose you are working in a job and there is a part within you which is little vulnerable, that will be targeted by your peers. Now if you leave the job and go to other place, you will see the same pattern happening to you.
Right.
If you do not change that pattern, if you do not overcome that wound that has happened within you, the same pattern keeps repeating in people's lives again and again. In their childhood, with their parents, maybe in their marriages, in their, till the end of their life, they start to feel that the same patterns have repeated throughout my life and I never got liberation from it. You might have observed this, right?
Yes.
So that started to happen. Now I'm shrinking, everybody is sensing that, and every day I'm getting bullied. Every single day. To a level that I used to pray to God that let just one day pass without me getting humiliated, bullied, beaten, bashed, battered, and being embarrassed for who I am. But it was not stopping at all. And then one after the another, this continued till I was in my 12th standard. And this completely shattered my confidence. Have you seen Tare Zameen Par?
Yeah, I saw.
Did you cry?
Of course.
Now imagine 100 times more toxic things happening around you in your school and in your home, including physical beating. When you're short, when you're thin, and you're continuously getting beaten. Like literally one day I was sitting like this, looking down, and my history teacher in 6th standard, he thought that I'm laughing. He called me and started to beat me up. Because he somewhere knew that this kid won't do anything. So I can release my frustration on him. Now imagine what happens to this kid. Psychology says this kid develops PTSD and ADHD and a constant sense of lack of safety and security. So this was my journey till my 12th standard, even in my college. But then massive revolutions started to happen and I became aware of it. I started to seek right scientific methods, solutions, tools, mentors, masters, gurus, guides, which gave me a breakthrough. And here we are.
That you are real like this.
So why I'm sharing this is I went through a lot of challenge in my childhood. This is just scratching the surface. But no matter what you have gone through, some people go through it early, some people go through it later. But no matter what your present circumstances, situations, and challenges are, no matter what you have gone through in the past, if you have the willingness and courage to equip yourself with right tools, right systems to transcend these challenges, take charge of your destiny, take charge of your body, your mind, your emotions, even your finances, you can really create the life the way you want it, and you can become the master of your destiny. And you can leave an impact on the planet.
That's amazing.
One more thing I would like to share when it comes to bullying, because this is my mission. Like, a big reason why I came on this podcast is I want to end bullying from this country, because most of the people go through bullying knowingly or unknowingly. Either they go through sexual abuse, which they never speak of, which they never get courage to speak of. Many people go through bullying or humiliations in their childhood, which completely blocks their true potential, completely suppress their genius, which they were born with. Every child is born with infinite potential, limitless genius, and limitless possibilities. But unfortunately, 95% of the human beings never experience that, never explore that, never get to express that in the world. And the biggest reason is what they went through in those formative years of 0 to 8 and how it shaped their identity. And only 5% people become little aware of it. They can transcend it, they can drop it, and then create their destinies. But again, as I said, 95% of the people don't know it. The mind suppresses it. You might think that nothing has happened to me. You might have forgotten what happened completely, or the mind has become so scared of those events and experiences and memories that it has suppressed it in deep unconscious, in the deep recesses of your subconscious and unconscious mind. But that impacts your present life, that impacts your health, that impacts your relationships. What is the reason so many people are going through relationship conflicts, breakups, divorces? By the time many people reach their 30s, they are on some or the other pills, either of blood pressure, or they have diabetes,
Depression and all.
depression, anxiety attacks. You might say, oh, I live in the present moment. But what is happening? Today, medical science is saying 90% or even more of diseases are psychosomatic in nature, which means they are caused by your negative emotions, they are caused by stress, they are caused by anxieties, they are caused by your emotional baggages or unresolved emotions which you have been carrying within yourself for so many years. But there is no way you can see them and resolve them, overcome them, and then live your life. So you might keep saying, I live in the present, but actually even your present is being controlled by your past, and that is reflecting either in your health, either in your relationships, even in your finances, the way you got conditioned in your childhood. Maybe you observed your parents fighting about money, you observed your father getting anxious about money, you observed your mom getting anxious about money, and now for no reason, when you have to make money or when you have to create your wealth, you feel I'm not good enough. You're going through ups and downs, spending money, and it starts to give you anxiety. It starts to get your throat dry, or it causes the same conflicts, the same fights which you observed in your family with your new family which you have created.
Right.
What is the reason behind that? Do you take shower every day?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Everybody takes it, right? Why do you take it? Because body gets dirty.
Hmm.
You accumulate a lot of pollution, a lot of dust.
Right.
So you take shower. But what about your emotions? They have been polluted so much by so many people. Anybody and everybody came in your life, and whatever garbage they had, they threw it upon you. Have you ever thought of taking an inner shower, taking an emotional shower, taking a soul shower? And that is also possible. There are proper scientific ways to do it. But this is the cure. There are ways to prevent this also. These childhood bullying, toxic teachers who are calling a 6 years old child a bona or a dwarf, beating him up in front of so many people. So many children who are unaware, unfortunately, are laughing at this child. And this is not just my story. This is a story of thousands and thousands of people across the globe. So many people come in my seminars. So many people come in my workshops and retreats who have gone through worse. And they have to walk through a journey to overcome this. It wastes a lot of time. But if this problem of bullying can be solved completely by even legal measures, then human genius, human energy won't be wasted in resolving emotional issues, but actually tapping into their true genius and their true potential and expanding their consciousness. So, this is my mission. As I said, one of the reason why I came for this podcast.
Stop bullying.
So I am a lawyer. I studied from Nalsar Law University, and I researched about laws against bullying in many countries. For example, China. No matter whatever the political conflicts we have, apart from that, China has very strict rules against bullying and even people shouting at each other, abusing each other, and very strict rules which are immediately implemented. If those kind of laws come in India, and if children are made aware, even the person or the child who has gone through bullying, if that is resolved in his childhood by trained teachers, if teachers go through certain processes and certain education to gauge whether someone is experiencing that kind of low confidence, if parents go through that kind of education, that why my child, why my son or daughter is not exuberant, is not joyful, is not energetic the way she was or he was when they were 5 or 6 years of age. If the parents could gauge this, understand this, and learn how to do this, then this can be solved. This can be prevented along with strong legal measures. So I have spoken to a lot of lawyers, I've spoken to a lot of people in authority and power who can change the rules, and we are going to make it happen. And very soon, it's my commitment, it's my declaration and promise that you will see a bullying free India, and so many people who might have gone through the expression of the sorrow and the grief which they faced in their childhood, they wouldn't have, or they will not be going through that, and their energy will be invested in creating something big, in impacting the nation and in impacting the world in a very powerful and in a very positive and profound way.
Okay.
So yeah, that was the journey of my bullying.
What made you start your mission against bullying? Was it because of pain or compassion
Of course, one reason was
for a
compassion,
childhood?
because I went through it. So now when someone goes through it, I can gauge it. I know I can feel the energy structure of that child who is going through it. Sometimes I give guidance to their parents also. Many parents enroll in our program and they realize that what wrong they were doing to their child.
Right.
I go to swimming every morning since last around 20 days. And there comes a special child, right? And his mom is a doctor, very educated person. I'm learning swimming from a teacher, and the teacher told me that he is a special child. He has some mental defect. So I said, never say this in front of the child, first of all. Then the mother was also saying the same thing, that my so much of my energy is wasted in this child. I have to take him through to this therapy and that therapy, and then I take him here, and I'm not able to work and focus. And it's not that that child is not listening. These people are thinking that the child is not listening, but he's listening. He's much aware. He's much attentive than you. No matter that doctor might have said that he has ADHD, but he is listening, he is learning, he is absorbing all that. And somewhere I felt it's my responsibility to stop them and educate them, and I couldn't stop myself. But when I expressed, the mother understood what she's doing, and she stopped saying that this child is taking my energy or getting frustrated in front of him. Of course, you're a human, you might get frustrated, but you can release it somewhere else and then uh, have a communication with the child with a lot of compassion, which he needs while growing up, right? So things happen like that. Wrong parenting, people become parents. It's like you never swam in a swimming pool. I'm giving that metaphor because I'm into that since few days. You never swam in a swimming pool and now you are thrown into the ocean to swim. The same thing has happened to parents.
Right.
And now they are somehow trying to manage their children, which is causing stress to them, which is causing anxiety, which is causing frustration, anger, burnouts, breakdowns. They are beating their kids up. And in the end, they start to either feel guilty, or some people say, this child is like that. You created him. He is not like that. The kind of environment you gave to him, he is just becoming that. You were carrying your generational traumas. You were carrying the conditionings of your parents. You never observed it. You never had a strong intention and intelligence to create a new generation of human being which is powerful, which is empowered, which is liberated, which is happy, which is joyful. You never even thought about all these things. And now you're blaming the child and you're beating him up. And you're saying we are beating him up for his good. This is what happens in most of our homes. Parents justify their beating, thinking that they are doing it for good. But again, psychology says that this causes massive ADHD in child when he is getting beaten in his childhood, and it hampers his confidence. You might not know about it. If you observe children who are beaten a lot in their family, they're either very timid or scared of people, or they are very, very aggressive because so much of aggression is coming to them. So they start to give it back to people. So parents, instead of becoming the first teachers of love, the first teachers of compassion, the first teachers of success, the first teachers of inspiration, they have become your first teachers of violence. They have become the first teachers of anger. They have become the first teachers of stress and frustration. And you have learned that the way you learned the language, whether it's Hindi, English, Greek, Roman, same way you have learned the language of communication of in terms of anger, in terms of abuses. And now that happens in your life, that reflects in your everyday life, and you don't know why it is happening. And that is causing so much of chaos in your life. So instead of that, if bullying ends, if people are taught right parenting and they take it seriously with sincerity, then truly humanity can change, because these two things shape the children the most.
Okay, so one personal question like, are you married? No? So I must say you're going to be a good parent in future.
Good.
Yeah.
Right now, what I feel, I have participants in my programs from the age of 8 to the age of 80.
Wow.
And I feel like, regardless of the physical age, somewhere I feel I'm a parent to them. This is what I've learned from my masters. Like, when I start my program within myself, I tell to myself, I set this intention that for these people who have entrusted their life and their growth and their well-being and their success upon me, now it's my responsibility, and I'm a mother and father to these people.
That's wonderful.
This is the energy I hold. And then, of course, I bring the methods, the tools, the systems which I have created over my study and my research and my experience of last 15 years.
That's great.
So, yeah, I'm a parent to all my people.
Okay, so what did your school and college teach you about freedom and following rules?
That taught me that freedom will be punished, love would be punished, friendship would be punished. And for many years, I lived like that. I lived in this fear and I didn't express myself freely. I started to stammer when I reached my college, to a level that if a 10 years old or a 6 years old kid asks me my name, I used to sweat, shiver, and palpitate.
So your
That is what my school taught me.
oh,
That is what my teachers taught
so your
me.
confidence was very low at that moment.
Yeah.
Right?
So, how many of us in our schools or in our colleges were taught that as we grow up in our life, how we can grow our confidence? As we grow up in our life, how we can increase the levels of our happiness and our joy and our energy? How can we become more healthy, more fit, more exuberant, more vibrant? As we grow in our lives, how can we go through situations and circumstances of our life, not from a state of stress, frustration, agitation, anxiety, but from a state of bliss, balance, harmony, and happiness? How many of us were taught how to use our minds to master our destinies, to accomplish our goals, to create an impact? No education teaches you this.
No.
And then we expect a happy world and a happy society. So the education system is completely broken. And we have started to believe that this is the only way of success, that if you have to be very successful, if you have to be very powerful, you have to go through a lot of frustration, you have to go through a lot of
Hard work and
breakdown, anxieties, depression, burnouts. But let me tell you one thing, there is a way, there is an education system which has existed since thousands of years, which will empower you in such a way that you can achieve all the success which you desire, which you can think of, and even beyond that, you can explore and express and experience your greatest potential, your highest possibilities, not from a state of frustration, anger, agitation, but truly from a state of bliss and balance. You can experience all that success, wealth, prosperity, harmony, power within yourself and around you, not by going through breakdowns and burnouts, but by being in a blissful state of being.
true.
The question is, are you open minded enough to learn these tools? Are you willing enough to go through these systems, these curriculums, or not? And that will decide the levels of your well being, the levels of your success. And my only work, my mission, and my life is just devoted to this, to bring the most logical, the most scientific, the most proven systems which can create this reform, which can bring this revolution, and which can create this breakthrough in our education systems and in our individuals. And this is what I live for, this is what I'll die for, and even if I have to die and come back again, I'll continue to do the same. And till now, we have impacted over 100,000 people with this work, written 4 books. One of that is the Divine Awakening curriculum, which was just published 3 days back.
So, Kabir, I read about you and I came to know that you were a hardcore atheist. So, how come like you totally changed to the spiritual teacher?
I think every child, when he is born, he has a lot of questions and a lot of curiosity within himself. And if he is not uh, conditioned in fear by society, by parents, by family, he will continue to keep asking the questions which will reveal the truth to him. And for example, with me, I used to observe so many rituals around me, a lot of rituals in my family also, so many festivals, with all due respect to them. And I used to think that what are these people asking for when they are praying to the God in which they believe? They are asking for wealth, they are asking for happiness, they are asking for harmony and love in their family. And most number of rituals every single day happen in our country, where almost every family, no matter what religion they come from, they are asking about somewhere of financial stability, which takes away their stress, which can empower them to educate their children, run their families, survive better. And my question was to my parents and to the entire society when I was 7, 8 years of age, that if your God is really listening to you, and we are praying so much with so many rituals, then this must be the most wealthy nation in the world. This must be the most clean nation in the world. The individuals should be most truthful, most honest, most authentic. They must have highest level of integrity. The performance or the intelligence or the genius of a person, the productivity of the individuals and the country must be highest because they are empowered now by God Himself. But that doesn't seem to be the reality. Just try to walk on the street of the country, again, with all due respect to it. But let's face the reality as well. Only that will transform the nation and that will transform the collective consciousness of individuals and the entire geography, right? That didn't show up. And then there were nations who were completely atheistic. They do not pray, they do not believe in any rituals, or even individuals who do not believe in all this, and they are very loving, they are very kind, they are compassionate, they are doing good to humanity, they are supremely productive, they are creating a very positive impact in the world. Their infrastructure is beautiful, their discipline, their civic sense, their ethics, their communication with other people, their generosity is much more than ours. So these were basic questions which I used to ask. I don't know, this might be a little controversial, but every shop has a photo of a god or an idol. But does that cause any economic boom in the nation in so many years? Regardless of the belief which they have, and I respect the belief, but let's look at the reality as well. And then there are completely atheistic nations which focus on their work, which focus on creating quality, which focus on giving value, and they seem to be having better results. They seem to be more disciplined, they seem to be more punctual, they seem to be thinking about their customers more. And here there is no punctuality. I'm not saying everybody is like that, but I'm talking about the majority. And that reflects, let's be honest about it, right? So these questions used to come to me and I completely lost faith. Plus, I was going through so much of bullying.
Yeah.
And sometimes when I used to fall sick, my dad used to say, because you are an atheist, you don't believe in God, then God is punishing you. That's why you're sick. So I used to say, even those people who believe in God, even you get sick. And if God, you say God is loving and compassionate and all pervading, then even if I'm criticizing him, even if I'm not believing in him, still he must show compassion to me, not punishment to me. You know, he is the ultimate father, right, who has created me. Now, maybe I don't know about him. My not knowing about him is also created by him. So my seeking about him and my questioning him is also created by him. My doubting him so that maybe I can know him better is a program in my mind or is a capability in my mind given by him. So why would he punish me for that?
Right.
So those used to be my simple questions. You know, at the age of 10, 12, that, so it's like, suppose you are a mother. Are you, do you have children?
Yes, I have a
Yeah.
baby.
So now, suppose you have properties in Goa, right? And your baby doesn't know about it. So you tell him that, beta, we have a property in Goa and we have a property in Dubai, which are real. And he doesn't believe. He says, no, mom, I don't believe you. You're lying. Would you punish him?
No,
Would
obviously
you
not.
beat him?
No.
Would you burn him in hell?
No.
You love him? He is questioning. What would your intelligence do? You will show him with a lot of love that, see, we have it. Same way, when the creator is the creator of this entire universe, every property belongs to him, and I'm questioning whether you exist or not. Why would he punish me? He should show me. So that was my seeking, and that seeking led me to spiritual journey. So for many years, I did not believe in anything, any ritual, any idol, and I was very skeptical about spiritual teachers, the so-called gurus, the so-called people in uniform, claiming themselves to be the messenger of gods or messenger of God or prophets of God, and making prophecies and controlling the masses and telling them some stories. Even so-called, like, I thought spirituality and religion is the same. And one day, me and my friend, we just went to, a lot of friends in my law university, we went to a place called Auroville. It is in Pondicherry. It was created by Sri Aurobindo. He was a great yogi. And I was a great skeptic and a great atheist and great haters of, all the gurus and so-called babas. Uh, but I was like, okay, everybody is going. And I used to question religion so much that people used to actually get angry at me. But we were a little open-minded and questioning kind of individuals. So we went to a place called Auroville, as I mentioned. And there was a place where his samadhi was there. Now in yoga, a place of samadhi means where a yogi or an enlightened being left his body, right? And they say that that place still holds the energy of that master. So when I entered, I was like, it's a good business. You fool people in the name of religion for so many years, and then you die. And even if you die, after your death, people will worship you and put flowers on the place where you died. So that was my dialogue in my mind. I said that to my friend, and he was like, not again, Then I sat there. When I sat first time in my life, I was watching myself. Till that time, I was overthinker. Like I didn't have any stop over my thought process. No control. It's just going to a level that I used to physically get tired. I used to think so much without any control. Positive thoughts, negative thoughts, anxious thoughts, mind battles, questions, so many things. And now I sit here. Suddenly I realize all the thoughts have just vaporized and my mind is like a clean slate. It's like all the clouds have been removed and I can clearly see the sun. And for no reason, a hardcore atheist sitting at a place and for no reason, tears are rolling down. And like, what is this happening? Is this state of mind possible? That I'm not thinking, and because I'm not thinking, there is a clarity in my being which I cannot explain. I can feel that I have transcended my mind to a level that if I want to think, I can think. If I don't want, nothing is coming. Not because I'm suppressing the thought, not because I'm fighting it, not because I'm telling no, I don't want to think, but it's just clean slate, completely silent, completely calm, and within myself, I'm bursting into bliss. Then I woke up in that silence that stayed for me for a very long duration, around 2 to 3 hours. These people are thinking, what has happened to this guy? No questions, not even talking. Then I read a book. I bought a book there by Osho called The Path of a Mystic, Fire of Truth.
What does that means?
So it's like the title was Fire of Truth,
Okay.
The Path of a Mystic.
The path of a must.
And like Osho's face was there, big eyes. And again, like I looked into the eyes, it was like something is coming out of it and just penetrating through my body. And then I started to read the pages, and again, tears, as if this is my journey. Every word which he was saying was not just a word, but it was like packets of energy getting released and causing some deep realization, some deep remembrance, and some deep revolution within me. And a lot of healing started to happen. That's where I started to realize that beyond the philosophies which we have read, beyond what the so called religious teachers are saying, there is a state within us which we can tap into through a process called meditation, which can truly make us overcome all the past, all the sorrow, all the trauma, and experience a state of mind which is in utmost bliss, utmost joy, and that joy is not mortgaged to outside situations around you, to what people are saying, what things are happening, and now you have mastered your own mind. So that was the promise of spirituality.
Okay.
And I said, this sounds more logical, this sounds more scientific, because I don't know what will happen to me after my death. Where will I go? I don't know what was there before my birth. But I know one thing for sure, that every moment I can increase the levels of my awareness. And that awareness will empower me to take my decisions better, to share my love more, to create an impact better, and to create a better life for myself, and to impact people around me in a powerful and in a positive way. And the more I work on this awareness, the more blissful, the more beautiful, the more brilliant life I can lead. And if I am successful in doing that, I will think my life is success.
That's
So that's how my journey of spirituality started. And then I started to really go deep and learn these tools of transformation, learn these systems of transcendence. And once I learned that and experienced tremendous, infinite, unimaginable transformations within me, then I got mandated by my masters to teach it to people. And I started to teach people from around the world, and they have been enjoying the benefits of it. So that's how the journey began, because before that, it was only chaos, only question, but no experience. The questions were good, they took me here. Because again, as you asked, I was an atheist, right? One more reason why I was an atheist, uh, and in that way, I'll always be an atheist. Every religion, okay, they promise that, or they say that my God is the best God, my God is the highest God, and your gods do not mean anything, right? Every religion. And if you see, so many wars in history and in the present, and so many crusades have happened just because of this. You won't see two non-believers fighting. You will see two believers fighting who believe in their philosophy in a very fanatic and in a very rigid way. If you and me, we don't believe in anything. We'll sit and have fun. We'll chill. We'll have conversations
we
about
don't
life
believe in
and
God.
humanity, right? But if there are two people who are hardcore believers of their own respective religions, one will say, my God is better, he is the best, others don't exist or they are demonic, and if you worship them, you will be cursed. And all of them promise a land or a place, either in this life or after the life. Which is the best, right? So my question was, okay, he is saying I'm the best, my God is, or my religion is the best, my God is the best. Another one is also saying the same thing, and all of them are saying that what I am saying is the word of God, and all of this is contradictory. And all of them are fighting for it while they are saying God is love, God is compassion. I'm like, how is this possible? They are willing to kill for this. And everyone is saying, my word is the truth. What is written in my book is the truth. With the same conviction. How can truth be contradictory and conflicting? And how can truth entangle people to fight with each other? Where if something is true, it will liberate you, it will awaken you. Then my question was, okay, let me believe for some time that what this guy is saying, this religious teacher is saying is the truth. Then people who are following this religion must be more happy. So he is saying, my God is the highest, my religion is the best. So people who are following that religion, the entire community, must be more happy, more joyful, more successful, more prosperous than the other ones. Then I saw, no, all of humanity is the same, with the same problem. You belong to another religion, I belong to another religion, but we have the same anxiety. Anxiety is not a Christian anxiety or a Hindu anxiety or a Jew anxiety or a Muslim anxiety. Anxiety is anxiety. Depression is depression. Sorrow is sorrow. Grief is grief. When a person on this side of border loses his life in the war, his family go through the same suffering, the same sorrow, the way the person who died that side or his family goes through. What's the difference? It's the same pain, same grief. In the name of religion, in the name of geography, in the name of community. If you allow your mind to think, to question without the fear, because religions put fear that if you question, then God will punish you. Again, if He's loving, why would He punish? He would allow you to question, and these were my questions. Fortunately, I was courageous enough to never get scared, because I thought God loves me if He's there. Because if He is there, He would be very intelligent. He won't be a frustrated, angry person sitting there waiting for me to make a mistake and punish me. Right? So then I was like, the person on the other side of border in the war, his family is going through the same suffering. regardless of their religion, which the family on this side is going through. So it's the same pain, same grief, same sorrow, same misery, so and same human misery, which shows it's the same humanity, regardless of all these things, and regardless of the walls which we have built. And if we can let go of this wall, then maybe we can realize that if the pain is same, maybe the possibilities are same, maybe the potential is the same, maybe the love is same, maybe the union is same, maybe we are all one. It's one humanity, beyond these concepts, beyond these ideologies, beyond these beliefs, which these so-called self-proclaimed messengers of God are claiming. So can I seek that? Is there a way to do that? And that is what I found in spirituality, which was backed by neuroscience. The most beautiful thing about meditation was that when I was going through this journey of my inner turmoil and questionings and conflicts, and then like even receiving hate from people and being okay with it, and actually doing the most outrageous things, when I started to read about psychology and neurosciences, because during that era, a lot of neuroscientists were researching on the brains of meditators. So there's a famous and one of the biggest neuroscientists in this world called Dr. Richard Davidson. Now, he's a professor in the University of Wisconsin in Madison, where he has his own laboratory. He's a disciple of His Holiness the Dalai Lama, who is also one of my spiritual teachers. So he used to put EEG machines and scanners on the brains of different individuals to study the brains of people, and he wanted to understand why people go through the suffering which they go through. Why there are people who are more resilient to outside situations and they do not go into depressive states, but there are people who are very vulnerable to it, and for smallest of things they get triggered or they lose their mental balance. Why this is happening? So he was studying the brains of people, and one day he met the Dalai Lama, and he said, "It's good that you're doing this research and you're studying the minds or brains of individuals who are going through pain, suffering, and this will bring some revolution, maybe some medicine or some cure to mental health challenges. But why don't you go through or study the brains of people who are going through highest states of peace, highest states of love and compassion within their mind? Why don't you study the brains of people who are going through states of ecstasy in their beings?" So he said, "How can I do that?" The Dalai Lama said, "Take my monks and study their brains. Let's understand what is the impact of meditation on their brain. Even we will get to know better about it." So Dr. Davidson flew these monks from Tibet and Nepal to his laboratory in Madison in Wisconsin. And what they observed happening in the brains of these monks shocked the entire scientific world. And the scientists thought that maybe their machines are not working properly, because there's something called gamma waves in your brain, which a normal human being emits for a few seconds throughout the day when he goes through very high states of inspiration, or something happens around you and you feel very happy. Even when you make love, when you experience a lot of pleasure or a joy in your body or within yourself, you emit those gamma waves, that too just for few seconds. Now these monks were, or their brains were emitting these gamma waves continuously in an unbelievable way for hours and hours, for very long durations of time. Now this proved that regardless of outside situations, if you can meditate, you can experience that level of happiness, that level of joy within yourself, which is not dependent or mortgaged upon the outside situations. So now, no matter what situations come in your life, it's like a wave is coming in an ocean. Now, a person who is trained in surfing, every wave is a joyride, is an adventure ride. For a person who is not trained in surfing, Every wave is a death threat. Now you have to choose, are you a surfer or are you a sufferer? So same way, life is giving you waves. This is the nature of life. You can choose. You can learn right tools to surf the waves, be a sufferer, or inevitably you will be a sufferer. So that was a huge revelation. And when I read that, I was like, let me try it. Because till now I have seen suffering, can I see surfing? Another research. Now, the question was, someone asked me this question, and I addressed this in my second TED talk as well. That so, does that mean that you have to go to Himalayas or you have to go to Tibet? You have to go in secluded places, become a monk, leave the world to experience that kind of bliss, that kind of enlightenment, right? So, that is not true, because Dr. Davidson did another research on people who are not monks. They are regular householders who don't know anything about meditation. And he took them, or he did an experiment with them for 14 days. And they were meditating just for half an hour every day. So 7 hours of meditation. And after the entire 14 days of journey, they found out that the prefrontal cortex of these people and the ventral striatum in the brain, and these are the centers in your brain which are responsible for happiness, which are responsible for your joy, which are responsible for your inspiration, which are responsible for good moods. All of that has shown a dramatic expansion. And the levels of their stresses, the levels of their anxieties, the levels of their grief has reduced dramatically. So this proves that no matter what your past was, no matter what your environment was, no matter whether you are living in a home with a family, with challenges around, or you are a monk meditating in mountains, for both of them, if you do the right processes with yourself, you can experience that kind of mastery on your mind, and you can experience those states of joy, those states of peace, those states of bliss. And if you have that kind of a state within yourself, you can conduct your life in a very graceful, in a very efficient, in a very effective way. So now again, when I read that, again, as I was always a skeptic, always a questioner, I never believed this also, because that was not in my experience. So I thought, let me experiment with it. Now, by this time, I was diagnosed with post traumatic stress disorder, I was diagnosed with ADHD, and I was prescribed medicines by a psychologist who, or a psychiatrist. So, our law university had a psychiatric department, and they hired a psychiatrist because kids are going through so much of depression that they were going to the psychiatrist. Now, that itself is a big tragedy in our education system, because education is meant to increase your joy. When you learn something, don't you become more joyful? Don't you want to share that joy with others? But here in India, the university and the structure of your education is such that the college itself knows that children will go through suffering, children will go through depression. So let us hire a psychiatrist.
In every schools and colleges, there is a psychiatrist.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Right? So now there is a psychiatrist. I go to her because I was not able to focus in my academics. Again, I had days when I used to lock myself in room and didn't go out because I was so scared of people, as I mentioned earlier, because of the childhood traumas and bullying and everything. First she said, you have ADHD. I said, what is that? She said, you cannot pay attention to things. I said, that's not right. I don't pay attention to things which I don't love. But when I watch a movie, I pay complete attention to it. And when I make paintings or sketches, I exactly sketch the person the way he or she looks without even looking at their faces. Their image is recorded in my memory and I sketch it. And if it is so well recorded in my memory that I can reproduce it on paper, it means I have great attention. I'm observing every detail of your face right now. I'm observing your nose. I'm observing the structure of your cheek, the shape of your eyes, everything. Right? That is the level of my attention. How can you say I have ADHD? Maybe I don't have it. It's just that your education and your teachers are not interesting enough, not inspiring enough for me to want to learn that subject. And then I showed my paintings to her. And she was like, "That's really good." And I said, "I never learned it. I still draw. I draw one painting or one sketch a week. And there is no improvement in the uh, quality of drawing. I used to draw the same quality in the same quality when I was 3 years of age, and still it is the same. But people say it is really wonderful, and I have had my art exhibitions in various galleries as well, right? So I didn't believe that. Then she said, "Okay, I understand, but you have post traumatic stress disorder because of many things that you have gone through in your childhood, and it started." So I had a very traumatizing experience. I was 8 years of age, and one of my relatives, due to some hatred against my father, they tried to choke me to death. And for few seconds, I lost my breath. So two grown-up men, and they're choking my throat, and I lost my breath. Someone came, they saved me, fought with these guys, and I gained my breath back. But for many years, I didn't gain my sense of safety back. I didn't gain my trust in humanity back. I thought every moment I used to feel that I can get attacked. Someone forget about beating, I can even get killed. So I lived in so much of sense of fear within myself.
So you never complained to your father or something?
That's another story. Uh, that caused a lot of distance between me and my parents because when I said it to my mom, she thought that he is just a kid, and she believed in those people who tried to choke, and she thought they were just playing with him,
Oh.
and she didn't trust me, and that caused us distance between me and my mom. And that's why at the age of 14 I left my parents.
Oh.
The excuse was something, the excuse was education, exposure, expansion of consciousness. But one big thing was, when my parents do not trust me or understand me and they trust someone else who's actually trying to kill me, why would the world trust me? That was the program running in my mind. And if people cannot trust me, how can I trust people? That was the program running in my mind. That was my identity, completely shrunken. So now, when this psychiatrist tells me that you have PTSD, I agreed with her. Then she said, take medicines. And this was the phase I was already healing myself. I was already reading spirituality. I was already listening to the videos of the greatest of spiritual masters, books of masters like Osho, Paramahansa Yogananda, uh, Swami Vivekananda. And I was reading neurosciences as well. And both of them are merging. And I thought, I'm not going to drug my brain with chemicals. Instead, I'm going to find some higher holistic solution for myself. So instead of medication, I chose meditation. And that's where I created my path. And the path was, I will experiment with these tools. I'm not believing anything. I'm going to experiment with this. If this works for me, if I'm able to overcome this sorrow, this trauma, I will make sure that no one goes through this. And if they are going through this, their journey won't be as difficult as mine. Their journey won't be as lonely as mine. I will create communities, I will create curriculums, I will create ecosystems to make sure that people transcend this suffering, heal themselves, see their lives not from pain, but from a space of what are the possibilities which my life holds, and what is the potential which I have within myself, and how I can find a path which bridges this gap between my present untapped potential and my highest possibility. And fortunately, it happened. I started to live in a monastery under the guidance of an enlightened master for 3 years. Within just 3 months of practicing meditation and advanced yogic processes and tools of transformation, my stammering left me, never to come back again. That PTSD was not there. My body started to expand. My height started to increase. As I mentioned, I was the shortest kid in my class. And today I'm 5'10", little more.
Yeah.
Good height. So miracles started to happen. And I'm like, this works. So what works, you don't have to believe. You know?
You have to believe in yourself, right?
There's no need for any belief. It's if you go on the 40th floor of the tallest building in Dubai and jump from there, whether you believe it or not, you're going to fall down, right? You're not going to fly up. So does it depend on your belief, or this is how the nature of existence and nature of reality
This
is?
is going to happen, obviously.
So reality and your experience of reality is beyond your belief, right? Now this room is cold because air conditioner is on. Air conditioner is a technology. You might come in the, maybe suppose you don't know what AC is, what air conditioner is. You say, I don't believe in AC. You come sit inside, the temperature is really cold, you will feel cold. Beyond your belief. You don't need to believe, right? You might say, I don't believe. You might say, I believe that it won't make me feel cold. Still, you will feel cold. So the truth is, or the truth exists beyond your belief. So you don't have, that's what I'm saying, don't believe. Even when people come to my programs, I say, don't believe what I'm saying. Because whatever I'm saying, it will come from my experience. Might not be your experience yet. But I have certain tools, certain processes, certain systems. Use those scientific tools. If they create transformation in your life, if they empower you to overcome your challenges, overcome your past, if it liberates you from your past, and if it empowers you to create a powerful present and a successful future, then keep using it. Keep upgrading yourself in that. If it doesn't, then leave it. What is the need of belief then? Right? So anyways, so it was working for me. Suddenly I started to gain a bit of confidence. I started to first time communicate with people, surprising even myself that, Arey, I spoke so well. The person responded so well. This guy didn't bully me because the environment was different. People were loving, people were compassionate. So I was not even being bullied. I was being respected. Everybody there is on a healing journey. So then I started to take bigger responsibilities. Till that time, I thought I'm not good enough to take responsibilities. I'm very young, I'm very naive, I'm immature, I'm stupid, I'm dumb. Because these were the words I grew up hearing about myself. And I believed in those words. The problem was, I believed in those words unknowingly. Or my subconscious believed in those words. And I thought, okay, this is me. This is how we live. The labels which the society or the people around us have put on us, we think this is us. And that destroys our complete potential and our genius. And we never know who we really are. We never know what our truth is. We never know what our true nature is, which is blissful, which is joyful, which is loving, which has great power to achieve all the success which we want. But we never realize this. That's why, as I said earlier, only 5% people achieve greatest of things. They express their genius, they express their potential, they achieve great success, and 95% of the people remain in the same paradigm of mediocrity, remain in the same paradigm of scarcity and lack and suffering and failure. And they think that this is us. Let me tell you, you are not that. You are way beyond your present definitions and labels of yourself, and even those labels are not yours. They are given to you by people around you, by your conditioning, by your family, by your society, and it is not given to you by the most trained, by the most evolved, by the most conscious human beings. It is given to you by people who grew up accidentally, just like you are in the present. But again, you can go beyond this and awaken yourself. You have a choice. whether you will walk this journey, whether you will gather that courage to make it happen or not. And every moment of your life, you have a choice. But life is limited, so choose in this moment, because transformation happens not in the past, not in the future, but it happens in the moment, in the present, in the here and now. That's why the if you see the Divine Awakening Curriculum, this book, the subtitle of the book is The Testament of Golden Age, in the here and now. So in the moment, if you commit, if you choose to reform your life, to revolutionize your life, if you really commit to it sincerely, with integrity, with your entire being, then golden age is not in the future. Golden age is not when it is written in the scripture. Golden age is not when you leave your body and go to some other place which is promised in the books. Golden age is here and now in the present. And in that moment, your life can completely shift and you can step into a completely new paradigm of living a wholly new life. You can live your life in a completely, totally new way beyond your past. Again, I'm saying in the here and now. So this has been my spiritual journey of my inner transformation. And once my mentors, the monks around me, the masters observed this transformation, this massive transformation, I was taking responsibility. I was serving people. I was going to villages and educating the children. I was serving the poor and needy. There was flood in Tamil Nadu, and suddenly this boy who was labeled irresponsible is now gathering doctors to help the victims of the flood and working for 18 hours throughout the day, taking big responsibilities, training thousands of people, speaking on stage, and not even a moment of frustration, agitation, anger, anxiety, not even a moment of tiredness and fatigue, not even a moment of the past interfering my present. And I thought, this is miracle. What else can be miracle? You can truly live your life with complete responsibility, do massive work, work with a lot of people, and still you are truly blissful, you are truly inspired, and you are not even tired. Because your body, your mind, your emotions, and your energies are fully aligned and you have taken charge of it to a certain level. That was a miracle for me. And as I mentioned, my journey, what I decided was, if I'm able to overcome my challenge and see transformation within myself, I will make sure that whatever I have learned, I will keep refining it, refining it, refining it, and give the essence, the distilled essence of that to people, and that will be my success. That no one goes through it. If they go through it, they are not alone in the journey. They are not being distracted or fooled by wrong methods, fake gurus, or some kind of belief system which might work, which might not work, but they are receiving the right, most scientific, most evolved, most advanced tools and technologies of transformation. So that has been my journey from being a stuttering, stammering, slouching kid to a fluent and fearless public speaker, transformational speaker, and a spiritual teacher.
So you say your curriculum is a synthesis of East and West. What does it mean?
When I was going through my spiritual journey, I was getting empowered from within, as I mentioned earlier, and I was experiencing deep states of joy, happiness, freedom, healing. I was living in a monastery, serving people. But still, I observed within myself also and around me also. I observed lives of thousands of spiritual seekers in different monasteries, in different spiritual places. And I realized, yes, there is an empowerment within themselves. There is an experience of mystical realms as well. At the same time, when it comes to taking charge of their families or their finances or creating something meaningful in the world, I saw many of the spiritual people very disempowered. And I found myself also very disempowered. I'm being very honest. During that spiritual journey, I saw people shedding tears of bliss during meditation, but when it when even a thought about finances or responsibilities come in their mind, they start to panic. They start to run away from it.
True.
I was like, this is not complete empowerment, because if you are really liberated, then you must be very efficient in doing or taking charge of these aspects of your life also. I saw many spiritual people completely incomplete with their parents, with their families. They still hold grudges and a lot of barrier against their own loved ones. A lot of fear about money,
Correct.
a lot of negative idea about wealth creation and money, a lot of hatred against wealthy people.
I know.
And I was like, how is this complete empowerment? And the same was with me as well. But I was able to observe these limitations within myself. And true spirituality is consciously being aware of your limitations and then obliterating those limitations, transcending those barriers and boundaries and blockages and baggages. So I was like, this is not complete. I started to question, because if I have barriers against my parents, if I'm carrying hatred in my heart against people who might have done something wrong in my past, I'm not free. If I'm not able to forgive, I'm not free. It's not about them. If a thought about them shakes my meditation, if a thought about money shakes my stillness, which I get after 40 minutes of meditation or 20 or even 5 minutes of meditation, then what's the point? How is this freedom? What's the point of this whole journey? And then I started to seek for more tools for this kind of an empowerment, for this kind of a completion, where through my communication, I can get complete with my parents. And I learned that from Western coaches. I learned that from Blair Singer. I learned that from Tony Robbins. I learned that from Landmark Forum, where first time I realized that whatever I was carrying against my parents because they didn't understand me, they didn't trust me, I suppressed that emotion in myself. And I'm not able to express it. And it is getting rotten. It is within myself that it is stinking in an energetic way. And I thought it's very difficult. I have to meditate more. I have to meditate more to overcome this. I don't know when will it happen. There is no timeline to it. So when will I be free? Then it is again just another dream, just another hope without any result. So then I learned these tools of completion. It's called technology of completion. And I had this conversation with my mom. Very authentic, in a loving way, yet being completely honest about it. And I realized that whatever baggage I had was just left behind. I was healed in that communication. And because I was speaking from that space, even she understood it. And I didn't expect any apologies, but she apologized. She said, I'm sorry that I didn't have the awareness to understand what you're saying, and I acknowledge it. And once that happened, first time in my life, after so many years, I was feeling that love and affinity with my mom, that union with my mom, which I lost when I was 8 years of age. And again, we had that strong bond, that union. And then I started to do it with as many people as possible. And it gave me a tremendous sense of power and freedom. And I realized now I'm free. So this was about relationships. And this is what we teach in our programs. There is a complete course which is called Conscious Communication Curriculum, where you learn these tools, these methods of authentic communication from a space of integrity, from a space of responsibility, and you're taught step by step these tools. And when you have communication using them, you will experience a deep state of love and affinity with those people with whom you had it once, but then you lost it and barriers were created. And once that is dropped, you experience deep union. And one by one person at a time, you can experience that union. And there comes a time when you truly, in your experience, realize that you are already in union with the entire humanity. It's just that there are barriers which got created. Once you become aware and just give it up, once you discover it and it get disappeared, you are truly one with humanity. Not because it's a philosophy, not because someone taught that to you, but because you have experienced that in each and every cell of your body. So that was one thing when it comes to relationship. Another thing was wealth. Now, I observed somewhere most of the so called spiritual seekers are very against money. So called even religious teachers are telling you renounce the world. This is all illusion. You will never know happiness if you are too attached with wealth. All these teachings are going on in so many so called spiritual organizations, and the same people are getting a lot of money from their donors. They are getting millions of dollars and they are building their temples and their monasteries. Then my question was, why are you so attached with money and material? So, and if you are, it's okay, then why are you teaching something which is keeping your followers in a state of scarcity, in a state of guilt about money, in a state of guilt about physical intimacy, and you are enjoying all of it? And somewhere, and this was not always the case. If you really go to the ancient Vedas, it talks about dharma, arth, kam, moksha. First one is dharma. Dharma doesn't mean religion. Dharma means path towards your liberation. Dharma or dhamma, as Buddha called it. It means a path which you walk so that you can get free. You can get liberated. You can experience your highest possibility. You can experience the divine. That is called dharma. The second was arth. Arth means economy. The so-called spiritual gurus, they talk about renouncing and they talk about hating the money and wealth. And then they talk about Takshila University, they talk about Nalanda University and the glory of the ancient India. But if they were really educated in what really happened in Nalanda University, they had all these four subjects: Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. These are the pillars of the ancient spirituality. Again, Artha means economy. The children were taught how to build their own economy in their family, in their personal lives, and how to grow the economy of the country. This was the model of the country. That's why, because of that heightened state of consciousness, plus this kind of an education of wealth creation, we were a prosperous nation and the entire world wanted to do business with us. But because of wrong teachings, all that was destroyed, and somehow this country got too obsessed with poverty, and wrong teachings came that poverty is divine. Somehow it got associated with God, and wealthy people are bad, wealthy people are criminals. Then movies are made where you are shown that poor person is a righteous person and the rich man is a criminal, a smuggler. And you are conditioned in all these beliefs. My father used to teach me that if he used to see any rich person, he used to say these people have cut the throats of other people and that's how they have become rich. And now it went in my mind, that program, oh, so if I become rich, I'll have to be bad. So I don't want to be bad, so let me be poor. Let me live in scarcity. And we have become so obsessed with it that for so many years, the economy of the country is fully broken. One big reason is these kind of teachings through religions, so-called religions, wrong teachings have gone in the masses. It has come in families, it has come in parents. And now when you grow up with that belief, at one level you have hate against wealthy people. At another level, you want to be wealthy. You want your children to be educated well. You want to travel the world. You want to enhance the experience of your life. But if your subconscious mental blocks tell you that this is wrong, how will your energies open up for more abundance, for more prosperity? How will you receive it with grace, and how will you experience that prosperous life? So, I became aware of this within myself also, that why am I not growing? Why do I have financial anxiety? Why do I have hate against wealthy people? So I started to question myself that why do I have this hatred? I started to explore, are these beliefs really true? Are the wealthy people really criminals? Then I realized, and plus these kind of beliefs, money is the root of all evil. So if I really believe in it, which most of the people do, of course, I will not have money and it will show in my life and it will make my life limited. Why can't we really observe and see money is the root of all evolution? Money has been the root of all scientific development. Money has been the root of all art, music, poetry, beauty, aesthetics, architecture on this planet. Money has been the root of all education.
Right.
You know, one day I was going for a talk and there was a Uber driver. So this was a talk between Karan Johar and a very big spiritual leader. And this Uber driver asked me that where are you going? So I said there is an event by Karan Johar and I'm going there. So he was like, Karan Johar is so wealthy. What will he do with so much of money? Why doesn't he give it to poor people? I don't like him. I really hate him. I said, why? Because he is wealthy. And this is a collective consciousness of our country, you know. It cannot accept wealthy people. So I said, okay, if tomorrow God comes and he gives you that amount of money, what will you do? Will you give it to poor people, or will you use it to educate and empower your children and create generational wealth? So he said, no, I'll educate my children. Will you travel the world? He said, yes. So you want it, but your belief is so against it that
You're blaming others.
it is not reflecting in your life. So then I started to read and I reached a realization that if I create wealth, for example, I buy a private jet. Simple example, right? I buy a private jet. People will question me that why didn't you give this money to poor? You bought a private jet for yourself. So much of wealth you have wasted. But my question is, when I buy a private jet, after so much of hard work, after so much of developing of competence, working on myself, reaching that level that I can afford it, every single day, I am feeding the workers in the factory who manufacture aluminium for the private jet. I am feeding the workers in the factory who manufacture the rubber for the tire of that jet.
Right.
The seat cover, manufacturing factories, laborers and people are being served by that. So I am, without being or without pretending to be a philanthropist, without pretending to be an altruist, I'm actually serving hundreds and thousands of people without robbing them of their dignity. Versus someone is just guilt tripping me, telling that, see, you are wealthy and so many people are poor. In fact, by being wealthy, I'm removing poverty. I'm giving opportunities. I'm creating jobs. I'm increasing the collective wealth of the society. I'm creating better lifestyle for those people who are working for me and their families. So how is wealth against spirituality? In fact, by doing this, I'm more spiritual than someone sitting there hating wealthy people, meditating for hours, having so much of hate and negativity and toxicity, and not doing anything for humanity and just pretending to be loving and compassionate.
Right.
So that's a whole delusional world. So once I realized it, I thought that this must be taught to people. These blocked emotions or blocked energies against wealth should be dropped off, and only then the country will rise in its wealth, because that is what we need right now. The nation's well-being will be determined by the growth of the economy of the country, right? So then I created a program called the Blissful Billionaire Blueprint. So then I created a program called the Blissful Billionaire Blueprint, where the old blueprint, which is of scarcity, which is of lack, which is of over empathy and association with poverty, is dropped off, is broken completely, and a new blueprint of wealth creation in an aligned way, in a harmonious way, is installed in your mind. And then you get step by step ways and methods to create your wealth for yourself, for your family, and for your generations to come. So that was a breakthrough, and that's why I always say that we need a synthesis of East and the West, where if you observe the West, it is affluent, and we are too associated with poverty, and we have associated it with goodness, and we have associated wealth with evil, and that's why we can see the society and what people go through, what poor people go through, what kind of frustration they go through for their daily survival, what kind of anger they go through, what kind of violence they create in their family. And unfortunately, they don't even have the finances to overcome this. People die. Like someone says that, no, I don't want wealth because I'm spiritual. And then there is a person who has wealth. When he falls sick, he can just cure himself with that money, get good services. And then there are people who just die because of lack of money.
Right.
What kind of spirituality is this? And then I see a lot of people, like for example, people ask me, why do you charge money? Why do you live in good houses? Why do you travel so much? You are doing a noble work. Okay? I say, so if I'm doing a noble work, you want me to live in poverty? I give well-being to other people. I create these curriculums and courses with so much of hard work and so much of financial investment also, with so much of shedding of my blood, sweat and tears. And it takes a lot of resources, which takes money to offer it to people, which transforms their life. And you want me to live in poverty and create this for people? What kind of conflicted, broken, fragmented mind is this? This has happened to the country. So recently there's a spiritual teacher called Jaya Kishori. You might have heard about it. So she was carrying a Gucci bag. It became a huge controversy. I didn't understand why. Like, I might differ in my perception with her, or my opinion, or I might differ with her opinions, but I didn't see anything wrong in it. Why a person who has committed their life to transforming other people cannot live in luxury?
Right.
What is problem? Why are we so associated with poverty that we want our teachers to be poor, but we are okay with our celebrities driving cars? We are okay with the people who are selling you alcohol and drugs to be wealthy. We are okay with people who are selling porn to you to be wealthy. We never question them. But if a spiritual person who is teaching you something of value, if they start to live in luxury, you have some crazy, strange problem with them. And it's not about them. This is the reason you are in scarcity. Why can't we imagine a country? My question to our collective consciousness of India is, why can't we imagine a country where there is no poverty? You don't have to serve the poor, and that is not the way for you to please the God. There is no poverty, there is affluence, there is abundance, there is prosperity. If you are a spiritual person also, you have the permission to live in that prosperity. If you are an artist, if you are a poet, if you are a painter, if you are a musician, whatever you are, you have the permission and you have the structure and you have a base and foundation to live in that prosperity. If we imagine and visualize that kind of a nation, it will be much better. Our personal lives will be better. Our nation will be better. Our societies will be better. And now we will have more option. We will have more clarity and space in our mind to overcome the fight of struggle and survival, and to really look into our genius, really look into our possibilities, really sharpen our talents and share that beauty with the world. But this obsession with poverty is not allowing us to make that happen.
True.
So that's why I always say that my path, or the curriculum, the divine awakening curriculum, is about dharma, artha, kama, moksha, which is about being established in your spiritual path towards your liberation while unapologetically being wealthy. Kama means enjoying all the physical pleasures, and this becomes your path to transcend all this and achieve the ultimate, not by suppressing your desires, but by fully expressing and experiencing your desires. Whether your body, whether your mind, all of that is in utmost abundance. And another question is, why to get fixated with scarcity and make it noble when the Creator Himself has created everything is in abundance? Do you think Creator has created scarcity?
No.
Or everything is in abundance? Billions of galaxies, billions of solar systems, infinite. Every single day, even on this small planet, billions of flowers and plants and animals and human beings, everything is in abundance. Why are we so fixated with poverty? When you say that nothing is difficult for God, He provides us with everything, then why would He hate the energy which has created infinite? Why would He hate little bit of wealth with you? Why would He hate, for example, when Osho had 90 Rolls Royces, people said this is not spiritual. But what are Rolls Royces for the Creator of the infinite? It's nothing, it's just a toy. So why can't one human being play with that toy and live in abundance?
True.
And I feel that is spirituality, that is liberation, that is empowerment. And spirituality is not to escape the world, but to empower yourself in such a way that even when you are in the world, you master it, you rule it, you embrace it, you conquer it. Not with hate, but with love, with compassion, with union with humanity. And that can only happen in abundance.
Right.
So, yeah, that's why dharma, arth, kam, moksha.
Okay, so Kabir, what really triggered this mission of yours that you are taking it to the whole new level?
So, what triggered? I won't say triggered, but it accelerated the mission. So, in the year 2023, my dad died of a sudden heart attack.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
And so, I was going through a very great phase of my life. In the morning, I was doing my practices, and I was feeling I have everything figured out. Things are going really great. So many people are coming to our programs, getting transformed. And I was very fulfilled. And then I went back home. The door was closed. Generally, what happens when I used to go back home, my mom used to be there making some breakfast, some milkshake for me. And first time, the door was locked. So I was like, what happened? Where is my mom? And my neighbor was standing there. And she said that your father was getting some shivering, so she has taken him to the hospital. And I called my mom because, and she's crying on the phone. And then I realized I used to live on the third floor, and I realized that sound is coming from the ground floor. And I run down and I see my dad dead. And he was in an auto lying down like this because I was not at home. My phone was switched off. He suddenly got a heart attack. They tried to take him to the hospital, and they declared him dead. And then they brought him back to the home because my mom didn't know what to do. She didn't understand anything. And then I tried to, do something. I was pushing his chest, and this was very what to say, because 2 days back I got the exact same dream. And I woke up in the morning and I told my mom that I got this dream. She said it's just a dream. And I told my friend, he said it's just a dream. And exactly after 2 days, I'm doing the same things which I was doing in my dream. And then somewhere I accepted that he's gone. Then we took him to the cremation ground. And when I was burning him, I thought, what was it about me which made him the most happy? You know what made him the most happy? He used to see my talks on YouTube or on my channel, and he used to share it with everybody with a lot of joy. And more than that, when he used to see the stories of my participants, the success stories, someone who overcame 10 years of anxiety, they have left all the pills and they are living disease free life, or someone who was going through some crisis is now creating financial abundance and success for themselves, or someone who went through trauma and is now healed, or someone who went through even broken marriages and now they have created a whole new level of peace and harmony in their relationships, or they have created new relationships. These were the things which used to touch my dad the most. And I have seen many times tears in his eyes, and he used to really bless me and say, I'm proud of you that you're doing this. And while burning him, I've I visualized that he might have seen those 100, 200 people and felt happy. I'm going to transform them into millions. Because if I feel sad right now, that won't make him happy wherever he is. But if I feel this fire within myself of transforming humanity and creating those results of that kind of a healing, that kind of a breakthrough, that kind of a transformation, that kind of a success in every individual who comes to my program, then whenever or wherever he is sitting, if he is watching, he will be the happiest. And I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to make every promise which I have made about my goal, about my vision, about my mission, about my purpose become real, and my dad will be proud. And that gave me so much of power, phenomenal power got awakened within me. And I said, till now, whatever I've done, I'm going to make it multiply beyond all measures. And I'll make my father proud. And then I started this mission with great force. And there we are. And I feel my dad will be happy. He has always been happy. When I took him for my first seminar, he was the first man to clap. And right now also I feel when I transform an individual, or when an individual get transformed in our retreat and he shares his breakthrough, somewhere my dad is clapping. And I feel grateful in my heart that I have been able to create that transformation in this individual's life. So that is one reason which accelerated the journey and awakened something deeper, something dormant within me. Another was when I started my journey, as I said, this was always my mission. I started with this intention, not an intention to become a follower, but to become a leader who can create leaders, who can create transformed individuals. Who can create individuals who are established in their dharma, arth, kam, moksha, who can create individuals who are blissful from within and who are wealthy and powerful and empowered in the outside world, enjoying all the beauty of life and experiencing liberation. When I created this mission for myself, I went to my spiritual teacher, my spiritual master, and I told I want to start a revolution. I want to create a path to make it happen. He said, it will happen after 10 years. It will take time. He said, it takes time. I said, how much time? He said, 10 years. I thought he's just, saying it. But this is how life arranges itself in magical and mystical and miraculous ways. And till then, so I asked him that, so shall I not do it? He said, just keep doing it. Don't think of future. Don't think that you will do this. Nothing. Just keep doing it. Keep teaching. Keep becoming more competent. Focus on your clarity. Focus on your exposure, your education. Keep working with individuals and create those results. And just surrender. It will happen after 10 years. And it's exactly 10 years. And the Divine Awakening curriculum is here. So sometimes what we feel we have done, actually, I feel now, there is a higher force. If you set right intention in the universe, there is a higher force which takes you over, uses you as a conduit, as a medium, as a channel for the well being of humanity. And it just starts to happen. So, yeah, so it has happened in a very graceful way with a lot of ups and downs. At the same time, it has created me in such a way that every morning when I wake up, I'm in tears of gratitude for everything which has been given to me and all the opportunities which the creator and my masters have given me to create that transformation in people's lives. So, yeah,
So, Kabir, you're okay, first of all?
of course, I'm wonderful.
Your dad is very proud of you. Thank you, Kabir, for sharing your journey and wisdom with us today. Your words remind us that true change begins inside each one of us. To all our listeners, remember, you are stronger than your struggle, bigger than your fears, and capable of creating a life filled with love, freedom, and a purpose. This is the end of this episode, but it can be a beginning of our own inner journeys. So stay inspired, stay kind, and keep moving forward.